My name is Hannah Walsh, and I'm a teacher, and I specialise in early years teaching, and I'm also a four-school leader. For my undergraduate teaching degree, I did not receive any training for how to support children's mental health and well-being, which I was really surprised by, and especially then whenever I was actually in schools, even during placement and then working, I realised I need training in this. So a lot of teachers just have to do their own research, but really and truly, given the mental health crisis that there is in Northern Ireland with young children's mental health, I strongly feel that teachers need training. Pre-service teachers need training as well. And it came out in the ETI Chief Inspector's report that there is a significant increase in the number of children presenting with mental health problems in our schools today. But I, at present, don't see how teachers are being supported in schools to really support children's mental health and well-being. It's important to note how a child learns. They talk a lot about Maslow's hierarchy, and at the very baseline of that, children need to be well physically and mentally in order to be able to progress up that triangle of Maslow's hierarchy, to be able to actually be creative and learn. So I strongly feel that teachers should be equipped to support children at that baseline of their mental health, because children need to be mentally and physically well before they can learn anything. So that brings me to the story of Dream a Little Dream. This story has been so special. From the moment I first saw it, I connected with it. And I truly believe that anybody can connect with this story, because as much as we don't want to believe it, we all do have some anxieties and worries in our life, and that's all part of life. But we all need to learn how to cope with worries and anxieties. And that's a really hard task to know how to do for yourself, never mind how to support somebody else who's going through a difficult time. This book made it accessible for me to be able to create a creative learning context for the children to relate to a girl called Luna, who's maybe going through something similar than them, that they can't find the words to express in themselves, but they can recognize through the story character Luna. It's almost like a social story they talk about in early years. So the children can identify with this girl Luna, who has lots and lots of worries, and then they learn through the book little simple techniques for how they can cope. You know, if they're feeling worried, how can they shift this feeling of maybe a sore tummy or feeling sad? What practically can they do? So in the storybook, we journey with Luna and we go through lots of beautiful places in nature, and Luna actually is taking time to slow down and interact with nature, whether that be looking at the clouds. The children and I went out into the forest as part of forest school, and we were lying on our backs and looking at the clouds and picking out the shapes and what did we see. They were blowing, in the story it's feathers. In my forest school class we were blowing leaves, and that's all about just slowing down and focusing on your breath. And I could see that some of the children who normally might have behavioural problems were actually so relaxed during our forest school sessions and when reading the story of Luna. So it's one of those books that the children can keep coming back to. If, for example, that child who has quite a lot of behavioural difficulties, if they're having difficulties in the classroom, I can quickly bring them over to a little quiet space and show them the story, go through the story with them, and encourage them to engage with some of the simple relaxation techniques, such as breathing deeply, or even just looking out at the sky. And those are really intelligently put in this book because those are techniques that are going to help children to be able to self-regulate their emotions. And really it feeds into a lot of different techniques that adults would be encouraged to use, for example, mindfulness. And in a way it's like cognitive behavioural therapy because children are breaking those negative cycles that they might be having of worry because they're focusing on things that are beautiful in the world and realising that actually there is hope and is taking away that worry for them, which really children shouldn't have at such a young age. And I think it's so important to equip children as young as possible because with curriculum pressures, children are getting anxiety at a much younger age than they used to. And there is such amount of pressure on young people today. And the more tools that we can give them in as creative and beautiful a way as we can, the better. And this book is just the start of it, I think.